Good morning.
Happy Monday, the 22nd.
22nd of May. It's years flying by.
Can you believe it? Next week will be Memorial Day, and we all get the day off, at least in the States. So that'll be exciting, which is why we're doing office hours today. And it's the fourth Monday of the month, even though there are 5 Mondays in May.
Oh, yikes. Are there really?
There is. There's also like 5 Wednesdays. And so there were like some things that were like getting screwed up with my like normal life.
Yeah. Not with their 5 Tuesdays?
No, there weren't 5 Tuesdays. Just a Monday, no Wednesday, no Tuesday.
Yeah, I get it.
But I'm so glad you're joining us for Question Pro Office Hours. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Office Hours, this will be our 3rd year doing it. We have done so many episodes where I think we're up to we've been doing this since the end of 2020. So Office Hours.
Middle of COVID.
Yeah. Office Hours is one of our staples. And if you guys have any questions, let us know in the comments and I can answer them. Hey, this is Crystal. We want to answer your questions. Leave a comment. And then we will, I'm sending it out right now, and then we will pop it on the screen like this.
Nice. So
make sure to leave your questions and comments in the chat window, and we will answer them in live time. Nick and I will say, we could answer a lot of questions. Probably, if you're like, what about this crosstab ratio shenanigan? Maybe not.
It depends, yeah. I mean, it can be about anything, really. Even if it's something you see that's not what we're talking about, ask away.
Or, how to get Taylor Swift tickets. We could also answer that.
Yeah, my sister went to that, I think, last week.
Oh my gosh. We have we're going to be releasing a study about the economic impact of the Taylor Swift concert in the next couple weeks.
Oh, no way.
Yes, we surveyed over 600 Swifties who have already gone to a concert about how much they spent on tickets, merchandise, travel, etc.
Oh, I don't even want to know.
It was fascinating. But if you guys were wondering what Question Pro does, besides fielding really interesting surveys to Taylor Swift concert goers, we do it with this product survey. I'm going this way because this is where my screen is, but I realize it's over here.
It's like Brady Bunch,
So we do survey software. Obviously, any survey needs from a free account on Essentials to Advanced and Team Edition. If you need survey software, we are the answer to you. If you also need polls or a questionnaire or other things that are just surveys by another name, we can do that. And then we have advanced research functionalities, as we were talking about earlier with the crosstabs. Nick leads one of our great programs, the Insights Hub, which is about repositories, which we're going to just briefly dust the surface of today. And we also have a communities, advanced research, formatting questions, programs.
That's good enough.
Great. And then, of course, customer experience on a scale of 1 to 10. How did you like this office hours? And workforce and employee experience on a scale of 1 to 10. How do Crystal and Nick like working at Question Pro? So if you need anything as far as survey software, employee software, or customer experience software, we are the solution for you. And let us know where you're at. I'm based in Austin, Texas. Nick, where are you based?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Ooh, that's fun. She was in Florida. Taylor Swift was in Florida a few weeks, last week?
Yes, Tampa. She did come to Jacksonville, Tampa, I think Miami and Tampa.
Oh.
But she did I guess she does multiple nights in a row at these places.
Yeah, it's like a new this is just a side note. Harry Styles did the same thing with residencies. So they spend 3 or 4 nights per city. So they're not on the road as much.
Yeah, makes sense.
And it's actually, I would say, probably more sustainable for fans and for concert and for artists.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I didn't know if that was just here because I was like, well, why don't they go to Orlando? It's bigger, but tourist stuff, but it's close enough. But I think like these 2 nights, my sister went to one. The pictures were crazy. I mean, it was huge, massive.
Yeah. They're averaging 70,000 concert goers per night with 52 nights.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's going to be our loose math said that the Eras tour that's only from May to July will beat the GDP of about 55 countries in the world.
Oh, that's amazing. That's crazy. If I put on a concert, I don't know if one person would show up for that. You're telling me 70,000 people every single night. Yes. That's crazy. That's crazy.
You were in a band though, right, Nick?
I was. Yeah, we kind of got snuck into these shows. So no one came to see us. They came to see everyone else. But we were in the middle. Everyone was like, yeah, they said good enough, I guess.
They didn't leave.
They didn't. Well, I don't know. I couldn't really see. You're up there, all the lights are on. You can't see anything out there. So I'd rather not see, actually.
Okay, I gotcha. But everyone's seeing you here as you help us with Question Pro office hours. And we are just so excited to be diving into some of the basics on how to, build a sustainable surveys program. And that is something that I really want to just kick off with is like you've been in surveys for a long time before you came to Question Pro even and joined us here. What are some of the pros and cons you've seen to organizing survey data over time?
Yeah, so the first kind of highest level point is people ask me where I work. I say Question Pro. They say, what is that? I'm like always tempted to say like survey software, which is what it is. But when you think about it, you showed all of those apps that we have.
Yeah.
Like it's the surveys are like the input to something that's much bigger and more complex. So like workforce, like if I think you can answer that question. Like, let's say you work on our workforce product. You could say, right. In one sense, yeah, you work in surveys, but that's not like the hard part or the awesome part about what you do with this data. It's like, it's a workforce, like continuous feedback loop, take action based on, feedback that you're getting in real time. So it's like so much more than just surveys. So that's kind of where I start with like organizing that data. We think about not just like, okay, like maybe if you are just on like the little survey end, like the fielding end of that whole process, you can think about it all just in terms of surveys, but really you should think about like, where is this data going? And organize it that way. Like, this is actionable. This is not actionable. This is for, this kind of decision maker. This is for that kind of decision maker, not necessarily just like, multiple choice or customer feedback or whatever it is. So it's it's a huge, I don't know if it's called a funnel or what, but it's just this, it starts with the input, like the respondent takes a Question Pro survey, they give you their data. And then like what we do with that data is kind of where I think all the magic happens.
Ooh, do you think, so I feel like we get not stuck, but a lot of people approach surveys like, I just need to know this one thing. They don't actually know what they're going to do with it afterwards. So like, how do you suggest that like in the same way we want people to program their surveys kind of on paper ahead of time, do you want to be like, when we have all this data collected, here's like 5 actions we're going to try and take from it before they field it? Or should they try to make the actions after they have the insights? Is it like chicken before the egg, or like?
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's always good to have an idea beforehand, but it's just really important not to like come to the survey with a really strong kind of expectation of what's going to happen, because then you see the data and sometimes you think, oh, that confirms what I thought. But like, it's like, wait, no, if you didn't come to the table with that framework, there's something much different here than what you think you're seeing. So, and that's kind of where organizing, that not just organizing the data can really add a lot of value to making sure that it's not just like ran a survey on this, ran a survey on that. It's like, I'm exploring this general subject. This is one part of that. I'm not getting all my answers in this one survey. The survey, just getting the survey out there is not the only thing that needs to happen here. And that's far from the only thing that Question Pro, even Essentials, empowers you to do.
Right. So speaking of Essentials, Nick and I signed up for Essentials, and this is what it looks like. Welcome to Question Pro. And we just want to walk everyone through a quick little demo. It does look like we have a couple questions in our chat that I just reached out to one of their chat guys to maybe jump into the LinkedIn chat questions to answer those, but we will also try and get to them as we're going. But let's say you signed up for Question Pro Essentials to field a question about I don't know what what do people field questions about?
Anything.
Anything.
How about this though? I have an idea.
Here we go.
We'll call it, I know this is probably overused, but we're going to start with employee satisfaction.
Okay.
And then I'm going to show you kind of why in a minute. But it's been a long time since I set up an essential. So hopefully I don't remember all the steps you got to take. We'll see. So satisfaction. So this is the first survey. I already set up the account, already gave my email address,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera. So create survey. So it will put this survey in my surveys. I'm going to go back to the dashboard here. So let me see. There we go. So there it is. That's the survey. Now, I don't know if we're going to dive into making this. Are we going to make the survey right now?
Nick, just real fast. So Nick started the survey by using one of our survey templates, which is a easy, or no, you didn't. You're just doing it.
Oh, no, I didn't. Yeah, I always forget about those.
So if you want to do it faster than Nick is doing it, use a survey template. We have over 100 installed in your Essentials program.
Good ones, because I've seen them. I even contributed to some of them. I'm old-fashioned. I just always start from scratch. I always think I can make a better one, and then I end up just making basically the same one that the template has. I don't even remember where those are. Let me see.
Survey templates? You have to go back to the beginning.
That's right. So we're going to start with an employee satisfaction survey.
Go to new survey.
That's right.
Go to from a template.
Here we go.
Welcome to Question Pro office hours.
Apparently, welcome to Question Pro to me. Apparently, this is the first time I've ever logged in. Okay, so here we go. Okay, see, I'm going to use this one. This is the one I wanted.
Perfect. Look, it's already done.
I was just testing you. I knew the whole time.
Were you just testing me?
Okay, so this is the employee satisfaction for smaller. We're just going to get rid of this for now. Employee satisfaction. This is the survey. Looks good. I'm just going to trust that this template is done right, up to par. And then we're going to take a quick look at it. How about we do that? I don't know if you can see that tab or not. Can you?
I can.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, here it is. Nice auto pushes the respondents to the next question, et cetera, et cetera. So that is what the survey looks like. The survey's done. It's ready to go. You fielded, of course, on the distribute tab, or you grab this link and you share it however you'd like. You don't have to use our built-in distribution tools, although they help you keep track of
I just realized
what's
I just
going
to
on.
Make my screen bigger instead of me leaning in.
I can't see you because I'm looking at I'm holding my screen up.
Oh, okay. So
there could be a fire in your apartment right now, and I just keep going.
Okay, so we've logged in. You created a survey. Mm-hmm. Can you actually go back so we can show a couple different things aside from the distribution method? Also, something very important that I try to remind everyone on every office hours is you can actually change this design. So you can add a logo and then go up to the design section. Mm-hmm. You can change the colors. It does not have to be blue. Not that I don't love that people use the Question Pro blue color everywhere, but you can change the color.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, this is a nice one.
Yeah, that is nice. Also, some of them have gradients now that are really, the UX team's been doing a great job. Okay, anyways, this is, see, look how nice that looks. Though it's funny because all of it, I like that most of the templated themes are Question Pro colors, which is great, but don't forget that you can change.
Oh yeah, you can customize, yeah.
Yeah, and you could actually even import your own brand guidelines into this. If you create a custom theme, you can create your own, you can add your own hex codes in, you can put in your own background templates, you can put in your own fonts. So make sure that you're working with your marketing and brand team to create really well-rounded branded surveys. And this is in Essentials. This is free. Mm-hmm. So anyways, sorry.
Yeah, and then once you've set up the template the way you like, you can save it, apply it, one click next time.
Yeah, it's very cool. And you can have more than one, like if you wanted to do it about different products, then you can have different templates or customized brands for each product line. Or different employee teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, keep going, Nick. Employee satisfaction. How satisfied are we?
Satisfaction. Yeah. So we're going to go back to the overall dashboard. So this is about organizing data. So let's say let's imagine the data has been fielded, or even before you fielded the survey, you can add a folder here. So basic folder file hierarchy, taxonomy, structure, whatever you want to call it. But I'm going to call this employee. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this HR. So this, let's say you're setting up an account. This can be for an entire organization. You apply then that survey. I think you click move. Yeah, move this survey into the HR folder.
Oh.
I'm going to do that. Actually, I think I did the wrong. Oh, no, that's the right one. I'm going to put this one in there too. So the point is that I mean, it's basic, file naming, file hierarchy. It's really a survey hierarchy. But the reason why I wanted to point that out is I see a lot of users, like I'll go into their surveys account for support or whatever it is, and they have like a million surveys in there, which is what my account unfortunately looks like, with like a billion different names, different naming conventions. Sometimes it's like I've made a copy and I made a copy again. It's like, customer survey copy 2, or like copy
Right.
final or whatever it is. And it gets pretty messy. I also see people, and I think maybe they just don't see that this is over here, but they will like precede each survey with like this. It'll be like, HR, and then it'll be employee satisfaction.
Oh, and so in keeping them all in my surveys and just their giant list instead of like creating structure in the file. Honestly, I should build that folders because I have a lot of instant answer questions in my account. And those get just like jumbled with my other surveys that I'm sending out. So how many folders can you have? Is there a max on folders?
Oh man, I don't know. I know there's 10 dashboards on the analysis tab, so I'm guessing maybe it's 10 also over here. But I don't know because like I said, I haven't even used this very well.
I don't know because I also don't.
Yeah, I know. This is what I'm gonna do later today is fix my account.
That's
I'm not
right.
sure I could go all the way up to 10, but who knows?
So phase 1, we're in a free, as you guys can see, we're in Question Pro Essentials. It's so robust. We've already talked about how you can customize the survey to look like your product or your department or your company. And then after you start building all of these surveys, you can organize them into folders on the left-hand side so that they're not kind of like mucking up or you're having to create your own taxonomy within Question Pro or within just like the giant My Surveys section. And then that also allows you then to share specific folders with specific teams. So
exactly.
If you go up to on the right, I just bumped my computer screen.
Oh, share folder here?
Yeah, where you share folder. Nick should be able to share that folder with me.
Yeah, so everyone I haven't said the name out, but this would be the company name. Everyone at Untitled company, let's say Untitled, everyone at Question Pro, let's say, will have access to edit. Everyone at Question Pro will have access to reports. Everyone at Question Pro will have access to copy. Now, like Crystal said, if you set this up, let me see. I think you could set this up by folder. So it'd be everyone at, let's say everyone at, what folder am I? Oh, I'm in the My Surveys folder. That's right. So I meant to go to HR, share folder, and then I would find like my HR exec or my HR team, and they can access these reports. This is everyone, but I think that if you set it, there you go. Share this with everybody. Will allow report access to all the 0
users. You have to put the people in your organization on there.
Exactly. So it'll have a checkbox of the people that you want to be able to see, and you can also group those people into teams. I don't know if you can do that in the Essentials. I'm not sure.
Let's find out.
Yeah, let's see. You can add them to teams. So teams, add team, test team, create team.
Essentials mystifies me every time. There's so many things you can do. But it looks like we have to go to Team Edition to have teams, which makes sense.
That makes sense. I didn't know what that team meant until just now. But
teams on Team Edition.
I see a lot of agencies use this. So like they'll give access to their client or their customer, usually not to edit the surveys, but to view reports so that their customer can log in, view the report, edit the report without them having to like send over a link every single time they make an update. So really, really valuable for agencies or people that, if you have any kind of like sub organizations or sub users at all, super helpful. So I know I use that with a few people, and then I've seen a lot of agencies use that, make pretty heavy use of that feature.
That's awesome. So as we're kind of exploring what Essential looks like, you can always update to Advanced or obviously Team Edition where you can get teams. It's pretty self-explanatory now that I think about it. But we also are going to kind of go through, and I'm going to have Nick log out of our essentials license, which is always free. And if anything, we're always adding, more features to it. So make sure you're exploring it. But I really want to take everyone who's watching through our more advanced usage of organization. So let's go into research edition, Nick. Or make sure you become Question Pro certified. And research edition would be our employee. You just log into your regular account.
Yes, I think I'm going to have to pull up a different window to get into the admin account. So just give me a minute. Not sure which screen you're going to be seeing here. Probably have to reshare my screen. Is that okay?
You go into admin. You don't just go into your employee edition account.
I think it's the same thing. So let me add this. Hold on one second.
Now I have questions. That's so funny. On a side note, if y'all are going to be while Nick figures his life out / research edition, if y'all are going to be in Austin, Texas this week, the Question Pro research team will be at IIEX for the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, and we would love to meet you. It's actually where I got to meet Nick in person last year for the first time.
Yeah, I remember that. It's crazy that it was a year ago.
I know.
So I'm going to share a new screen. Is that all right?
Yeah.
1 second here. Stop share and reshare. It's a lot of our lives these days is stop share, reshare, share that.
There is a lot of sharing for sure. And sometimes on StreamYard, which is the platform we use to bring all this amazing content to you guys, we also constantly have to give it permissions.
Mm-hmm. So you can see that?
Yeah.
So this is the full research edition. You'll see if we go to teams, you'll be able to set up a team. I have teams set up in here. You have some basic folders here. These are mostly just for testing. What did we want to go through as far as the research edition?
Let's talk. Let's show how to set up a team since we want to do that, and you can add me probably to that because since we are in our employee admin, we would really be able to actually share those folders now. And then now this is when you go into share folder. Great, build a new folder.
I'm going to do this human resources. So again, maybe you're the insights director at your organization or you manage the surveys account. You have a human resources folder. You put some surveys in it and then share that folder with, let's see. So folder sharing options. Everyone at Question Pro. Everyone at
Question Pro.
Probably
what if
not.
You just want to share it with one person?
Yes. So only specific users or teams can access share folders. Let's say I still don't want them to be able to edit those surveys.
Okay.
Actually, I'm going to do users. I want them to be able. Maybe they can make a copy, or maybe they can just report on that or see the reports.
Right.
So I think that if I type this in, I have to have the user set up. So I think I have myself on here. It's an old email. Here it is. So it's my email without
the dots.
The dot, yeah. So I'd add that here. So it's report only. If I add that in, save changes. Permissions updated successfully for one user. So if that user logs in, they will see only this folder. They won't see any of the other surveys in your account. They'll see only this folder. It's almost like having multiple versions of your Question Pro account just by having one research edition license. And again, you can have one for each of the departments at your company, each of your research teams, whatever it is you want to do. They log in, they see that only. They don't see anything else. They don't even know that there's other surveys.
They don't even know.
Yeah, they might think, what the heck are you doing all day? There's nothing in here. But depending on what you're, yeah, so there you go, share with Nicholas Freiling. And depending on what you're sharing, again, there might be some confidential responses and some, especially if it's like human resources. So you just make sure that you've set this up in the way that you think is appropriate given your kind of needs and things.
So now that we're in a more advanced survey software or research software, what happens after you and I have been working on surveys together for 5 years, and then one of us decides to leave the company or the organization? How do we make sure that we set ourselves up for success, creating long-term sustainability for our insights? Making sure that you and I aren't running the same survey, that we aren't making it or that I can't find insights off of that that you may have already done, or if you leave or I leave, how do we make sure that we're being able to kind of like backfill that
hmm
knowledge?
Yeah, so I'll show you a product, Insights Hub, in a minute. First thing I want to say though is it's best, and I've seen this so many times. We all do this. We like have somebody's account we use to log into stuff, and that's a lot of times just because like that account holder maybe hasn't added other users or they haven't set up teams. In case of Question Pro, maybe you don't want to share like that surveys account or that surveys folder that goes to human resources with like the one person that human resources can use to log into it. Set up the team so that if that person leaves or if you leave, it's that team has access. It's not just one
Oh,
person. Like let's say you share it with the HR, VP of HR. He or she leaves, then all of a sudden they're like, well, what's the email we have to use? Do we have to get her email? What was her password, et cetera, et cetera. It's just kind of I think it's kind of it just becomes cluttered. Like if you have someone leave and someone else leaves, I've been in organizations where I'm using like the guy who was, two places before me. He set up that account and we're still using it. And I
ah,
don't get his emails, but I know that's the email I use to log in. So in all
interesting.
seriousness, set up the team, human resources team, which we can do here with the advanced account. Human resources, I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to add users to it. Start by assigning users to this team. So basically, I go to users, has a bunch of email addresses in there, so I'll leave it there. But you go to users, and then you just click a drop down, put them in this human resources team. Everyone on that team should have access so that, yeah, if somebody leaves, anyone else
Ah,
on that team can log in and see it like it was just no
right.
hiccups. So,
So instead of creating, we do that a lot here is like we create an alias and then you have to like all log into that and blah, blah, blah,
mhm.
blah.
hmm Yeah, I mean, it works. Maybe like sometimes you maybe save money. You don't have to buy a second account, but
Yeah,
it's not the best way to do things, especially if you have people coming in and out of your organization. All of a sudden, it's like, who owns this survey? We have no idea who owns it. It's there somewhere. We can't see it because we've been set up as a team. We can't
right,
even see if the survey is up. So just permissions are important.
right.
It just takes like 10 minutes when you set up your account to set those permissions up, and they'll be fixed forever. So don't skip that step.
Right. Because organizing your insights and your kind of survey experience is not just about the insights or the what happens after the survey or before. Like it's about what happens before the survey. So making sure that you're setting up your team to succeed long after you're gone. If you're or at least in your absence, right? Make sure
hmm
you're setting them up for success. Do that at the beginning. You don't want to try like undoing or trying to do it in the midst of it is a lot harder than just like taking inventory of like what your experience looks like at the beginning.
Yeah, and it's a balance between like, hey, how does your company, what do the workflows look like versus what is this Question Pro account going to look like for us?
Right.
Educate people on how they log in, what they're going to be able to see, what they're not going to be able to see, and then like kind of who's I always suggest with my product Insights Hub, assign somebody to be like the champion of this account,
Mm-hmm.
so that if someone does have questions, which hopefully you've set it all up from the beginning in a really intuitive way, but if they do have questions or if it's like, hey, I need to see the survey, the accounting survey that might have some HR stuff in it, reach out to them. All they have to do is add you to that team or add you to that folder, and it's done. So that's the ideal way to set up any kind of app that you're using. But Question Pro, that's right here. It's this big, huge button right at the top, organization. Can't miss it.
Organization.
I think
Yes.
that's pretty intuitive, don't you?
Hopefully. Okay, so we've talked about how to set up yourself for insight success using our free essentials account where you can make sure to share the survey. You can actually create multiple folders, and then you can hopefully, upgrade to team edition where you could create teams if you needed to collaborate more. Research edition allows you to do all those features plus more advanced sharing and a lot of more advanced analytics, which I think is really key.
hmm
And so then now we've done all of that. Where if let's say you're at a big company and you have a human resources department, you have a product department, you have a culture department, and you're all doing surveys all the time, but
hmm
you might be doing the same survey.
hmm I might
What
not know it. You mean?
What? You might even do the same survey multiple times about you. Like me and Nick could be running the same survey and not even realize it.
hmm
We have a product that Nick is in charge of, and I would say he loves dearly. It called Insights Hub, and that really is what is the magical place. It's right up here in the magical place for data organization.
Mhm.
Give us your elevator pitch on Insights Hub.
Yeah, so if you have a lot of surveys in your account, I always tell, Question Pro customers and users, if you have like more than 100 surveys
Whew.
in your account, if you ever spent any time like scrolling and looking for the right one, or if you ever open one, it's like, that's not it. Oh, I don't know which one it is. And or if you have like 4 or 5 surveys that really all belong to the same project,
Mm,
separate surveys, maybe it's like a quarterly tracker or something like that. But the way that you set it up in Question Pro, for whatever reason, is you've set up 4 separate different surveys. That's a kind of a lot to keep in your head about remembering, what goes where, what belongs with what. Maybe you came up with naming conventions for these projects kind of on the fly, and the account looks pretty messy. I've even seen pretty messy accounts that are using folders, but as like I said, I don't even use my folders very well. I know that happens at agencies when you have multiple people getting in, putting different surveys in different folders, and then you're trying to share them with your client, and then they're like, "Hey, what survey is that?" It's not, doesn't even belong to them, things like that. So if there's ever been a point in your time with Question Pro or with any kind of platform like this, where you've thought, man, it would be better if this were organized not by survey, but by from the other way, so looking top down by
mm.
project, or just by general theme. That's really what Insights Hub will do. So I'm going to open
So
Insights
when
Hub
you talk
here.
about by project, do you mean like, okay, let's say we're at a pool company. I don't think we have any pool customers, so that's the example I'm going to use.
Mhm.
I work at a pool company, and I have pools that I put in hardscapes, and pools I put above ground, and pools I put in ground. And you're
Mhm.
doing research on how people like in ground pools versus above ground pools, but then
Mhm.
you also have all your surveys about your customer satisfaction for above ground and in ground. You're saying
Mhm.
organize them at the project level, or the pool style level, instead of by the like all customer
Yeah.
satisfaction surveys, all this
Mhm.
like, is that what you
Exactly. Like if you have, let's say you have customer satisfaction for multiple pool products, or maybe you've done like some research with different audiences. And at some point, actually, I'm going to go back real quick. At some point, like the folders, like you have, let's say you've put them in like, customer feedback, but
mm-hmm.
there's a lot in there that's like really valuable for your insights when you look at the reports. And so
Right.
you have like an insights folder, but like you can only put them in one. And so,
Yeah.
and or even if you could put them in two, it's like, where do they really go? You want to make sure you can like, ideally you could make a search and like find any mention of a particular issue that you're thinking, like if it's pricing, if you're worried
Right.
about your pricing, you make a search, you see people's feedback on pricing, you see the research you've done on pricing specifically. And then with Insights Hub, even if you've done secondary research, like if you found 4 or 5 web pages that show your competitors pricing, you can also save that in Insights Hub as well. So it's not even a data, like it's survey
Ooh.
gathering, it's a completely different kind of research. So I'm going to go
Wait,
over
has
to,
Insights Hub always been able to do that?
no, that's pretty new. That's like,
I
I think
was
that's like a month
like,
ago.
oh, wait.
Yeah. I'll show you that here.
That one, I was like, I knew Insights Hub pretty well. That's why I was like, wait.
No, that's a new one. And actually we're working on like a browser level plugin so that like Pinterest, you could just, if there's a URL that you think is really valuable for you as a piece of research, you just pin it to a project and it's done. It's there. You can find it, you can search for it, etc.
Interesting.
So this is Insights Hub. This is kind of the dashboard of all the insights you're generating. I'm going to stick, I'm not going to dive too much into this. I'm going to stick to like the how you link a survey to a project,
Love that.
since we've been in the surveys product. So I'm going to click on, do this one. I think I've added some here. So yeah, so this is a project page. There's a lot on here. If I click on operations, which is actually, we're renaming that to tools,
Hmm.
I can link a survey from my surveys account. You can see I've done this a lot, but I'm going to do it again here. So let me see this one here. Teens online. This is the name of the project. That's confusing. Here we go. Question Pro restaurant dining habits.
Ooh.
I'm going to link that survey to this project.
Great.
So there it is. Question Pro restaurant dining habits. It's linked, it's saved. And then what you could do is basically that survey now, let's say it was the only one in here. I probably should have picked a different project. Let's say that was the only one in here. So like when you think about this topic or what this survey is about, you're not just thinking about like just the words in the questionnaire. You're thinking about the whole bigger topic or idea. And
Right.
so you take key findings from that survey. Let's say you learned, kind of mixing themes here. Let's say you learned that, teens prefer fast casual to regular sit down restaurants or something like that.
Right.
Um, you add that here. So I've added a bunch. You're like, here's one, just
Oh,
8% of teens have a debit or credit card. That's something you learned from the survey.
interesting.
There's no place in our surveys product to just write down something like that. That might come straight from a graph in the question in the survey's dashboard,
Oh,
and it's there. And if you know that it's there, you can see it. But it's like, what if you want to be able to search for, how like teens debit credit card? You can't
right.
do that in the surveys product, but you can do it in Insights Hub. So if I search, let's say teens.
So we just fielded our Taylor Swift study, right? But we had
Mhm,
to go through all the charts and the graphs and the data, and we had to have Patrick Jones from the services team kind of
mhm,
like write up a summary. He had to like
mhm.
pull it into an Excel sheet, do the maths, and then we had to kind of like do the like 70,000 attendees times 52 nights
Yes,
times
right.
1,300 people, and we were just doing it on our phones, like
Mhm.
chatting. But
Yeah,
if we had Insights Hub, I could have typed that in there as a key finding, and everyone could have seen it.
exactly, exactly. So you
Mm,
link that Taylor Swift survey, make a project called Taylor Swift, or Taylor Swift, concert study, and you
right,
link the survey that you used to conduct that research to the
right,
project, and then all your key findings for that project you'd write in here. And then the idea is like if you're doing any kind of analysis on a separate document, that analysis is really important. Like if you're going to go back and do another
yeah,
survey.
just like in a Google Doc.
Yeah, right. It's a Google Doc. So you would link that Google Doc to this project, and or just write those notes here inside of the project, so that again, like if someone leaves your organization,
Right.
or if you just if you want to be able to just like search real quickly, like Taylor Swift, this everything will come up, not just the survey, not just related files, but like even all your notes about the project are going to
Right,
be
because we
here.
were also emailing like John, our PR guy who we were working on this with, emailed me like an Axios article and was
Hmm.
like, "Hey, like you're like I had a hypothesis that like what recession with all these
Yeah.
people going to
Hmm.
Taylor Swift,
thousand
like
dollar tickets. Yeah.
right, like if you're spending, oh man, I had some friends spend like people I know, like first degree acquaintances, like from $7,000 a ticket to like $600 a ticket.
Hmm. Oh
And
yeah, I know. It's a lot.
but we had all this data, all these like news articles that we were just like texting about and like, emailing about, but we could have really just stuck them in here under a note
Hmm.
and like stuck the link and like
Yeah,
what we thought is
exactly.
interesting about it.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can write. This is also going to be renamed, but to take notes inside of a notepad. So
Okay.
anything. Basically, the idea is that if you're generating insights, like written narrative insights, like this here, 49% of teens leave items in their shopping cart, blah blah blah. If you have that from a survey, it needs to be saved somewhere close to that survey, so that if somebody in a year's time wants to rerun that survey, they can see what they've learned without having to just look at the dashboard and kind of hope that they're seeing the same things you're seeing. If you've already
Right.
put in like 4 hours to like dissecting what's valuable here, that should be saved in the same place as your research tools, not in like Google Docs, where it's like maybe you didn't even name it the same thing as the survey.
Right.
You don't know if they go together or what's going on. I've seen so many like shared drives and I'm like, and people straight up tell me, they're like, the only way I know how to navigate this shared drive is because I remember like the last time I did it, I clicked on these 4 different folders,
Oh
found
my
that
gosh.
file in here, and I updated the bottom of the document. Point
Essentially, it's
is,
trying to take that mental load off of researchers.
exactly, exactly. So
Mhm.
you may come up with like the theme of the research. You don't have to name the survey yet. Just the theme of whatever the research is about. Go to this page, create the project. You can even create a new survey from this view. I don't know if you can see, but it opened up a new tab. Can you see that?
I can.
Okay, it opened a tab and it already named the survey after the project. So then whatever you write in here, it's going to be really clear and obvious that this is related to this project. You don't have to close Insights Hub, open surveys and do it that way. You can just
Oh,
launch a survey right from this view. You don't launch it, but you can
yeah.
start creating it right here, just to kind of keep everything in one place by default. You don't even have to remember to go back and like link the survey that's related to this topic. You just literally create it here and it's automatically linked here at the bottom.
Very cool. I feel like I'm
So
learning a lot about Insights Hub.
yeah, there's a lot in here. And then the
um,
last,
keep going.
I was going to say one more quick thing. Similarly to the way that you have folders inside of the surveys account,
Hmm.
we also have what we call it's our taxonomy. So project type, programs, and then tags. I don't think you can tag surveys inside of the surveys account, can you?
I don't think so, no.
I
But
don't
I
think
was
so
like, are
either.
you trying to tag surveys as surveys?
Yeah, no, it's also like you could tag them about a topic. So if
Mm,
you have a project or a survey that's about, children or seniors or teens or young adults, you can tag them that way here. And then when you want to search for that, if let's say you want to know like, let's say like willingness to pay for, let's say just teens, you find it here. And then any projects you have that mention, so here we have some, projects that mention teen or that are inside this tag also mention the word pay. So that's the idea. It's just kind of like it's like something you can sit on top of your surveys account and
right.
really kind of supercharge the way you're organizing and sharing all of that data.
That's amazing. First, now I'm like, man, I really, it's like, I need to use Insights Hub.
Oh yeah, everyone should use Insights Hub.
I was just like, oh, like this is actually like this could have solved like 6 emails that JW and I had about Taylor
Oh,
Swift.
totally. Yeah, even on that note, it's not even that you just would instead of emailing, you put it in here. It actually shows you an activity log, all the
Ooh,
actions taken. So you'd see like this survey was created,
yeah.
the survey was closed, these key findings were written, when they were written, who wrote them,
Mhm.
makes it a lot easier. So,
That's
anyways,
amazing. I was long story short, I helped Nick do some of the early Insights Hub marketing. And so I was like, oh, I know Insights Hub. And now I'm like, oh,
mhm.
no, it's changed so much.
Oh, it's changed. Yeah, it's changed a lot. A lot of good feedback, a lot of good user feedback from demos and things. So it's really made all the difference. But anyways, I don't want to get too in the weeds on that. I know that not everyone is using Insights Hub yet, but if you, like I said, if you have like 500 surveys in your account or even like 100
Right.
and it's ever confusing, but you're digging into that data all the time, you need something like Insights Hub. It's going to make your life a lot easier.
I love that. So cool. I'm going to take that. So, Nick, tell
Hmm.
me. I just removed your screen, so you
Okay,
can come back.
I'm here.
Tell me if you had, we're about at time. If you
Hmm.
had just some secret key nuggets. You've worked in surveys a long time, aside
Hmm.
from Insights Hub. What are you think are the best practices for people organizing their surveys and their insights for
Hmm.
their most success in the future?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to caveat a little bit and say, like, from the agency side, if you're sharing surveys with different teams or organizations, um, think about like when you share a survey with a client or with a customer, if or even if you're not an agency, if you're sharing it with human resources, your naming conventions or kind of your mapping back and forth, it's going to make a lot of sense to you always if you're the one who set it up. It's not always going to make a lot of sense to the end user. So be very descriptive with the titles of your surveys, with your folders. Give the user, even just by being able to look at like the different folders that are available to them, like what's going to be in there, help them, ideally you're able to kind of promote all the work you're doing just by when they log in and they see these projects that are named like, willingness to pay for teen consumers or whatever it is. So think about the end user when you name surveys, when you set up your folders. Don't just, like you said maybe you could do like feedback, customer feedback. Well, that doesn't mean anything like what kind of customer, and what kind of feedback. It's all feedback. It's all feedback. So
Right.
just really, really think about the end user, making things intuitive and easy to understand. I think it's kind of a place to start. Everything else, it really depends on how you're using all this data, but end users should always be front of your mind.
I love that. I think that's a great takeaway for anyone, no matter where you're at in your insights journey. We always want to support that, whether you're doing your basics on essentials or really advanced research edition, and then your 100+ surveys
Mhm.
moving into Insights Hub. And so, thank you, Nick, so much for joining me for Question Pro Office Hours. I don't. Next month, I think I'm going to have to replace you with somebody from the CX team and talk about the basics of customer experience.
Oh, that'll be fun. I'll log.
Yes.
That's a product I think is the team is really exciting. So I'll
Yes.
log in for that one.
I know there's definitely a lot going on with
Mhm.
reputation and inner loop, outer loop, and closed loop. Me and the team have phrased it just all the loops.
Yeah, true. Good point. It's all loops.
Do you need a loop? We've got the loops.
Feedback loop.
And
Yep.
so make sure you join us. Ooh, let me look at the calendar. June 26th. And I will be fresh from a couple days off. So join us for June 26th for Question Pro office hours. We're going to be talking about the customer experience and our CX program and kind of your ABCs and 1, 2, 3s of that, how you can use Essential Advanced for customer experience and how you can use our customer experience platform. Thank you so much for joining me, Nick.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. See ya.